I think that there are a lot of people listening who feel that way, where it's like, wow, this place is so bizarre and it's so weird.
Uh-huh.
And there are so many better ways that we could have this set up, or that we could work with each other. And I
Uh-huh.
imagine if people haven't recognized that they feel that way, if they think back to being a child, they will recognize it, because I remember a lot of heartache specifically in elementary school, when I was learning about what the bigger world was like. And it was like, why is there pollution? Why is there war? Like, to a child's mind, it doesn't make any sense. And
Uh-huh.
so we get kind of desensitized to it, just as a byproduct of trying to, make it a little bit easier on ourselves as we move through our daily lives.
Yeah, what you just described actually was a beautiful segue into interplanetaries because, like, yeah, many of them feel, wait a second, this place makes only about this much sense. Where did all the sense go? Interplanetaries, and I'm one of them. And, the way that you were describing yourself, hi,
Yeah.
teammate. Yeah. Right. So because interplanetaries are not from here. So they're coming to Earth with this different frequency and a lot of really interesting skills and knowledge about how things work from the place that they came. They often come from like well regulated, like well structured places where the societies are kind of working in a more smooth way because they've had time to figure these things out. And so they come here and it's like, oh my God, there's a pretty high mismatch. It's very common for childhood to feel very isolated because nobody around seems to understand what it is you're talking about most of the time. And you're like, am I the weird one here when everything seems so strange? And so, yeah, so like growing up and learning that it's okay to not have to translate yourself to fit in is usually part of the learning curve that interplanetaries have to deal with. A lot of the time, people here who are interplanetaries are also neurodivergent, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because their physical wiring is different than the norm. And so neurodivergent brains and nervous systems receive information differently, they process it differently, and therefore they output it differently too. And part of that is because they remember how to do things differently. So they are so needed here because they can really help us create the systems that do make a lot more sense. Like, how do we make a society where people get to act in community, where we get to decrease violence, where we can treat the planet with respect and also enjoy, being working with her. And so they could really help us do what needs to be done.